you know, the president presented us with a stabilization narrative. And we can't deny that. I mean, our currency is stronger. We have lower debt ratios, higher reserves, lower inflation.
Correct.
You know, the gold exports have been institutionalized under the gold board, and the cocoa sector reforms will be presented. So I think we'll hold our horses a little bit on that to see how that's meant to be operationalized. So what we are all hoping and praying for is that the reforms don't just end up being fiscal corrections following the extreme difficulties that we found ourselves in not too long ago. But they operate in such a way that in the long term, they prevent a relapse, because that has been a trajectory. We do well and then we go back, you know, 2 steps forward, 4 steps back. So we don't want that. So we're all hoping and praying that this time it stays, you know, it stays. So yes, the government's macroeconomic recovery, I think, is very commendable. But unless these fiscal discipline, export diversification, energy reforms, and enforcement independence are locked into our systems, they have to be locked into our systems, then the recovery risks become what I said. They become cyclical rather than permanent. They are not structural, and that is what we want, which is what my colleague was talking about earlier.
The question is if you have faith that we could get to the place that you are projecting.
I think so. I think we have to. We don't have a choice. I mean, if we are to move this country forward, we have to get to that place.
Or perhaps it's because the IMF is sitting over us.
But thankfully, we are in the process of getting out.
And when we do, normally,
we come
then
back.
the epileptic conduct of our drinking behavior begins.
We go
you know
wild.
That drunkard who promises every time that I'll stop. Today I have stopped, I won't do it again.
It's like, you know, someone who just comes into money, they pay off their debts, then they get given a lot of money, and then they go wild.
Right.
Exactly. No, so we can't keep doing the same things over and over again and expect a different result. And I'm hoping that this time things will be done differently. But then this stability that we can all see and which we have to acknowledge has to translate into money in our pockets, lower cost of living for the ordinary Ghanaian, for all of us, increased real wages, sustained SME growth, because SME in any country, they drive the economy, and reduce youth exclusion, because I know that the employment figures, according to the Ghana Statistical Service, between Q1 and Q3 last year went up by 1 million, and that's great. But it's a question of when you look at the other side of the coin and the 1.95 million youth who are not in employment training or whatever, then it means that 1/5 of our youth are actually excluded.
They don't have the skill, nothing.
Yes, and they are excluded. Totally
that tells you the importance of the free SHS, right?
Yes. So, so we have to look at that. And the jobs that are being created, are they formal jobs? Are they informal? Are they seasonal? Are they permanent? You know, private sector, public sector? Because we can't also pack people into the public sector. It then leads us to the same problems. So these are some of the finer details which we have to really look at. And then the 24-hour economy, the president spoke about that as well, that he signed the legislation now. It's now law. I think we're all excited to wait to see how that will actually work out from an implementation point of view, because, you know, that is what will determine the success or otherwise of this policy. And also, you know, we need to have, for it to work anyway, we need reliable power. We need to make sure our security services are on point.
You mean cheap and reliable power?
Cheap and reliable power. And some exemptions, because what we didn't hear was how you know, if you're a businessman listening and eagerly waiting to see how that will benefit your business, we didn't really hear, or we haven't heard yet, I'm sure at some point it will come, how that's going to work. Import duties, tax exemptions. Are you going to have lower electricity
You're
tariffs?
repeating what Afenyoma King said a while ago on this show, but the project comes, and the president mentions capital investment in equipment and so on, that will come with an exemption on tax, like
Yes.
it was done for the 1D, 1F.
Yes, so that's what I'm saying. What form will it take? Tax exemptions, great. Businesses need, I mean, look, you need to empower businesses to move, because we all use the sentence loosely that, you know, the private sector must be the engine of growth. I mean, we can say that in our sleep. But that statement is actually a very profound statement when you unpack it, because a lot has to go into making that happen.
The man you advised when he was in power, he popularized it. The private sector is the engine of growth.
And he actually achieved that, in my view. He achieved that. The one thing that I was also happy about was to see on the anti-corruption side, to see the EOCO, the amount EOCO has actually recovered so far for the country. 600 million is a lot of money. And it's, you know, when you think about the fact that it's a huge pot of money.
They don't tell us, he doesn't tell us within what period,
Yes.
whether for the life of EOCO or for the last how many years. I doubt it is the last 1 year.
Yeah, so we need to know that. We need to know over what period.
Because he pegs it to the number of cases they are doing.
The 462.
Yes, and I doubt that is within a year.
So we need to understand what that figure represents. And you know, there are some ongoing prosecutions. It would be helpful to also know how much they expect to recover from those ongoing prosecutions. Illegal mining dockets and all that were spoken about, that's fine. But the one thing I was actually happy about was what we've all been saying all along, that look, these guys who are being arrested are just pawns. You know, they're just pawns in the game. The real kingpins, the brains and the power behind.
He made it a campaign pledge.
Yes, illegal miners are hiding. And so you can arrest 10,000, 100,000 of these young kids, but you won't achieve anything unless you go behind and find out who is actually driving these things. And so these are some of, I'll pause here because these are preliminary comments.
Okay, thank you.